Hey everyone, Dominic the Primetime Treasure Hunter here. So, as you're growing your business, what most people generally do is they try to find a way to diversify their product inventory. And one of the things I've long suggested is to try and find at least a few new areas that you could, try to expand into every year. And one of the other things that you want to try to do is you want to try to increasingly plan out strategically what time during the year you're going to focus on placing certain product on eBay in greater amounts. For example, I have just crushed it this year with Halloween items. Now, I've sold Halloween items in the past, but usually I put them up a little bit too close to Halloween, or I just kind of randomly placed them, up on eBay throughout the year. But this year I was very strategic with it and, put up a bunch of my Halloween stuff 4 months before Halloween. And, as such, it has just been smoking with Halloween sales, whether it's die cuts or Dracula related items, or if it's, witch stuff, or pumpkin related items. It just doesn't matter. It's just every day it's something, and it's greater than ever before because of how I planned it out that way. And what I wanted to share with you in this video is a way that you could get some insider information on new types of areas to source that you may never have thought of before, beyond information you're getting from watching people's haul videos or, reading bolo guides or things like that. And also some information on brands and information on other features related to the items, including information on when during the year it's best to place these products on eBay. If you're going to, pick a certain time of the year, when should you focus your efforts? So let me share my screen with you. And I know some of you are aware of this, but I also know many people aren't, because when I mention it, people say, where do I find that? Where is that? So what you need to do is just go into Seller Hub, and you're going to see there are these tabs here. And you definitely want to experiment with playing around with all these different tabs, because there's a wealth of information there for you. If all you're doing is going to the overview, you're not really getting what all of eBay is providing you, all of what they offer. But you want to go under this research area. There's lots of useful stuff there. But what I want you to focus on is clicking on where it says sourcing guidance. Now, let me know in the comments, by the way, if you were aware of this or if you were not. I'm especially interested in the people who didn't, because that tells me this video particularly would help people who didn't know about this before. But you're going to go down and you're going to see a lot of categories. Now, these are general categories, and you'll see as you click on them, you'll get to extract a lot of additional useful information out of it. There's subcategories and all sorts of stuff. But I'm just going to click on some here, and we'll just expand it. Now, don't worry if it shows up blue or not. You could still click on them, and they usually will expand. So I'm just going to click on the first thing here. So we clicked on antiques, and then I'm going to click on where it says architectural and garden. And then there's a section here on chandeliers, sconces, and lighting fixtures. Do not focus right now on saying, well, that's not interesting to me. That's not the point. The point is just to show you the kind of information that's here. And then you could go in later and explore what you would like to see. But I'm going to scroll down here. And one of the interesting things that they provide is information on seasonality. And you can see here that for whatever reason, March and April is by far, this is the best time to sell these types of items. And you could see here, there's a price breakdown as well. So you could get a sense of if this is a higher end price market that you want to try to break into, or if it's a lower price area. Now, as you can imagine with chandeliers, we're going to be talking about some more expensive pieces, fancier lighting fixtures and stuff. So we have more items here that are in the $100 to $500 range, 32%, than you're going to see in many other areas. You can see there's a lot that are going for $200 to $100, 5% or $500 or more. Many areas you won't even see anything $500 or more. So that's interesting in and of itself. And there's some things here less than $20. Those are probably like maybe some replacement bulbs and stuff like that that might get in there. But then other types of information that's fascinating is you could see here, it breaks it down by the type, and it gives what they call a growth opportunity score. So if you click on that, it says, this score represents how easily we think you could sell more of an item within the category. We look at recent sold items and compare them to current inventory and predicted demand. It says we only show a score if we think an item can outperform the category. They don't show neutral or negative scores. So they're showing you information that could help you. The score alone shouldn't be taken as a guarantee of selling. That's an important point. Another important point that doesn't mention here is that this does not mean, for example, that if you see something that this is going to be something you're going to make a ton of profit on. It really depends on the item, because you might land in a category where you're finding a fast selling item, but it's something that sells for under $10. So the only way you're going to make that work for you is if, one, you could source it low, and two, you could sell it in volume. So you have to be also just careful about that and make sure you're doing your research in that regard. But the bottom line is, the higher the score you're going to see, the better the potential. So, and just one other thing here about the math, they look at listings that have been active for at least 10 days, and they take into account the number of items currently on the site, the number of sold items in the past 60 days, and as I just showed you earlier, the seasonality, and they look at the average days also to sell an item. So obviously items that don't take as long to sell are going to bump up in terms of the ranking here. And so you can see here, porcelain, gets a ranking of 60, which is very close to cast iron, ceramic, and so on and so forth. And it goes down. And then you could see enamel, crystal, copper. Those are towards the end of the list there. So it gives you a sense of things to focus on. And then it has other things, and some of these other things are very specific to the category. So here you could see it will go into further refinements. Are people looking for vintage ceiling lights, antique ceiling lights, vintage hanging lights, art deco ceiling lights? So you may learn some terminology that you're not familiar with. Do you know what art deco is? Do you need to look that up and learn? It's a great place to go and learn and really expand and grow your reselling game. It also is very important when you look at feature refinements, because it's showing you these are things people are looking for. A lot of people are looking for vintage ceiling lights. Then if you had a ceiling light that was vintage, you do not want to forget to add the word vintage in it. Or if it was art deco, you don't want to forget to add that into there. So that is really important. Now, this also tells you, hey, are people really looking for something that's an antique? Well, you kind of figure that out that they are, because people are looking for vintage stuff. Does it have a warranty, a protection plan? These are all things you could click on and explore. I'm not going to click on every single thing for every single category. I just want to give you a sense. Now, you could also, by the way, let me just go over here again real quick just to show you, because I forgot to mention this, but you could also search if it's used or new. So it gives you, different options to look at, look at it either way, depending on the category. So let's go into art. Click on another one, and art posters. Now, I sell a lot of posters, and what's very interesting here with the seasonality is that this tells you if you have a lot of posters, right? So let's say you have a bunch of posters that you bought in February, right? Big score, right? And you're deciding, what is it that I should sell right around here? Well, this probably isn't the time that you want to spend, a lot of focus on putting up these posters. You'd want to put them up more towards Christmas time, because you could see here they explode, and the sales are exploding. You would reasonably assume because people are purchasing them for Christmas gifts, gifts around the holiday season. And you could see the price breakdown is very different. We don't have any posters really selling for over $500, only 1% between $100 and $500, 9% between $20 and $100. And the vast majority, 90% of them, are selling for less than $20. And that is consistent with my experience with posters. And, look, this gives you great ideas of things to look for. Kanye West posters, That's what people are looking for. Look, it's really significantly outperforming the others here. I mean, even more than, sad to say it personally, but it's outperforming Scarface right now. But Scarface is always a go-to poster. Pinup posters, are popular, music, movies. So they're more general, and then you could, try to do some of your own research and try to fine tune it a little bit more. And you could do that with the other categories. And you could see here how it's allowing you to do that because it's giving you date of creation. Like right now, posters from 1990 to 1999 are the most popular. I would skip over the unknown part. That doesn't mean that people are searching for posters in which there's an unknown date. That's just reflecting that there are a bunch of people that just put in that they didn't know what the date was, either because it was unmarked or they didn't bother looking and putting it in, and a bunch of those still sold regardless. And so, I would just ignore that. So you have to be able to look at these tables a little bit critically. But, and then you could see the 70s and the 90s and then, and then the 50s. And so, kind of interesting, though, from 2000 to now, the more current modern posters, those are much less desirable. Would you have necessarily known that without looking at this? I mean, that gets a ranking of 39 compared to things from the 90s. That's a very big difference right there. So, it's interesting, and then it has things like top combinations. So you could look at, what are the growth opportunities for different combos. So like if you have, interestingly enough, we just talked about 2000 is not very popular, or as popular, but when you combine it with movies and their reproduction pieces, pop art, small sizes up to 12 inches, that is actually the biggest area of growth in terms of a combination. But as I mentioned earlier, here we're talking about an average sales price of right around $10. So, that's not a lot when you factor in, shipping and stuff. But like I said, if you get volume, you get, bulk, maybe you can make it work for you. So it just depends. So it gives you just a lot of things to explore. Let's go into babies is the next category. Don't worry, we're not going to go into every category. I just want to show you a few things. Now, this is a differing seasonality chart than the one I just showed you. Notice here, we don't see a spike around Christmas time. In fact, we see the opposite. We actually see it go down. People just, I guess, are not having as many babies at that time during the year that they need stuff, but, or they're spending their money on other things. But the rest of the year, you could see it's fairly constant. It goes, the trend line pretty much, stays between these two lines right here, indicating that this is a type of product that is generally in demand throughout the year. But unlike the posters, if you had a lot of baby products around Christmas time, what this would tell you as a reseller is, you know what? Those baby products, I'm not going to focus on listing those, so that, I have a bunch of them, in December. I'm going to focus on the posters, or I'm going to focus on other things that are listing around that time of year. So it helps you figure out how you want to allocate your resources. And I think that is really helpful. And, here again, you could see the different types of brands. And, I guarantee if you go through this with all these different categories, you're going to learn information about brands that you didn't know before. Let's go over to books, antiquarian, and collectible books. And look at this. Once again, another big spike right around here, which is telling you that you're going to have a market available for you who's going to want to purchase these types of older books right around now. So again, really helps you focus on when to list and what to list. Also, it's very interesting is that, books from 1900, actually, if you go here, it's really 54% for anything 1850 to now, have a better growth opportunity score. Now, pre-1700 being down is a little bit misleading because there's just not that many of those available. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's less desirable in this instance. It's just there's not going to be as many of those around, because how often do you come across books that are earlier than the 1700s? So, that's just things to keep in mind. And then they actually give a few specific years that people are looking for. So that's interesting. And it even will tell you stuff about binding. And this is very important. If you find books with leather bindings, that is, and it shows up in green like that, that's jumping out at you saying, hey, listen, you find that, you should grab that, because that's something that people really want. over and above in a lot of these other items, because some of these things are, pretty much statistical ties. I mean, there's no big difference between a 57%, and a 56%, but there is a difference between a 65 and, let's say, like a 52 or something like that. So, that's something to factor in as well. Go down to a few more categories here. Let's go over to business and industrial, building supplies, insulation. I know about a lot about insulation right now, doing a lot of insulation here in my flood zone that I'm recording in. By the way, I will have an updated video soon. Construction is all done, for those wondering. All I have to do is hang the signs. So once I do that, then I can't wait to show you the vid. But anyway, you can see here for the insulation, more people are buying insulation when? Right around the fall. Now, they're not buying it. Look at this. They're not buying it in December, really, because, or November. You could see it really go down. The curve just pretty much hits its peak right between September and October, and that makes perfect sense if you just think about it. When are people going to want to buy insulation to warm their house? Right before the winter comes. And when is the least time that they're going to want to do that? Right around here, springtime, summertime. You could see there's just a dramatic drop off right around there. So, this would tell you that, hey, if you've scored some insulation somewhere, you made like a big pallet deal and you wound up getting a lot of it, this would be the time you want to start listing it. Not the month that it's selling, by the way. You want to make sure you have it ready a few months back, so that you've got your listings ready, you're all set, so then when the customers are searching for it, you've got stuff for them. Let me just show a few more examples, then we'll wrap it up, because I think most people get the general point here. But let me go into one of my favorite areas, which would be collectibles, and I'm going to go into comics, and I'm going to go into Golden Age comics. So you can see here, these are comics from 1938 to 1955. Going to click on superhero here. Now, this is really fascinating to me because, a lot of people buy comic books, for themselves, but they will also buy them as gifts. But look here, we actually see the lowest point, lowest time during the year when people are buying Golden Age comic books is September and around like December. So you're not seeing a big spike during Christmas time, like right before it. But look what happens. Where do we see our biggest spike? Afterwards, in January, from January to February. Why is that? My guess would be that people are spending their Christmas money. They're spending their gift cards and stuff, at places where, like obviously we're here on eBay right now. They're spending their eBay gift cards, by purchasing Golden Age comic books from, comic book dealers on the site. And you can see here, we've got a really big spread in terms of the price breakdown. We've got, 10% of Golden Age comics selling for over $500, 28% between $100 and $500. And you can see here, no big surprise, right? Batman and Superman are the most popular. One of the things that I have used this for, and right here, I'm just clicking on publisher, and just to show you that, if you're going out and you're looking for certain comic book brands in which you want to, try to pick up certain publishers, this could be really helpful. Now, for Golden Age comics, it's not going to tie in so much to the example I just want to give you, and I'm going to back out and go to a more modern era to tell you what I mean. Timely Comics, by the way, this was the name of Marvel Comics before they turned into Marvel, and that's why you see that showing up in that era. But let me go actually to go into my example that I wanted to tell you. Let me go into a more modern age. So here we go, modern age, 1992 to now. Click on superhero again. Other modern age superheroes. Spider-Man had his own category there. And I'm going to go into publisher here. Now, I have used this before when I've gone out sourcing into like bookshops and stuff where they're having things on discount, where they're doing blowouts. And I will specifically go through this to look at the trends to see, what's the most popular right now in terms of brands people are looking for. You know, like right there, you could see Marvel's way up top, but look here, DC is all the way down here to number 10. So this would tell me, listen, if I've got a choice between Marvel and DC right now, I really want to veer towards the Marvel related books. So that's very interesting. So, you know, it's helpful information in that sense too. So there's a lot of stuff you could get out of it. You know, you get information about the characters, about the companies, and all sorts of combinations and stuff that you want to look at too. Let me do one more thing. Let's see here. We'll go into clothing. Let's do clothing, because I know a lot of people like clothing. And let's go into women's clothing, and we'll go into women's accessories, and we'll go into belts. Okay, just kind of doing some random stuff here. And what you could see here is that there's really two main spikes during the year for women's belts. There is a little bit of an uptick right around Christmas time, so these do tend to be gifted, it looks like. But then we also see them selling more right around the springtime. So, you know, that would make sense as well. You know, people just, you know, doing some spring cleaning, and they're deciding to update their wardrobes and stuff like that. So they're more, you know, looking for, you know, belts for, you know, spring, summer gear type of outfits. And, you know, it could be different types of belts for different seasons as well. So, you know, I'm not a women's fashion expert, so more women could cheer, not cheer, but, well, you could cheer. If you want to cheer, you could cheer. That would be good. But if you want to chime in, which is what I meant to say, you could do that. And you could see here, there's all different, you know, brands, and showing you, you know, Kate Spade is number one. You know, thing that people are looking for. Again, that doesn't mean that that's going to be the most expensive belt to sell. It just means that that's what most people tend to be looking for, and it, you know, gives you the greatest chance of selling. Sizes are shown as well. Look at this color. You know, listen, if you had a choice between black and brown, this is clearly telling you look for the black. Doesn't mean people don't like the brown, but if you had to make a choice, this gives you data to make decisions on. I can't emphasize that enough. Material, vinyl, leather, plastic. Vinyl is clearly above and beyond all these other materials. And down below, we've got, you know, metal and chain. So anyway, I really hope that's helpful. You know, one of the things I like to emphasize on this channel is using data, and using data to help you make decisions and to help you grow and to improve your business. So I hope, especially if you did not know about that sourcing tab, that you go and explore it, and that it really helps you grow and expand your business. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure that you subscribe as well. Make sure that you leave a comment down below. Just let me know what you thought of the video. And don't forget to come on my live show Wednesday night. I am having a bunch of things going on. There's going to be a giveaway for Support That Seller Sunday, huge event. The prior person picked, Matt Granger, just made over $700 in sales in 24 hours. Last person picked. So that's amazing. Did a great job. Congratulations, Matt. So you have to be a member of my Facebook group, the Facebook Reselling Resource Center, to be eligible for that. And that's where you would go and enter. So the link to that is down below. So make sure you definitely join that, and then come by the show Wednesday night. I'm going to be doing a cha-ching-a-thon again. So people who are in the live chat can have an opportunity to make sales. Again, you'll want to come over to the Facebook group to learn more about that. And I think I'm going to auction off a couple items as well. So that was fun last time. So I'll do that. And it's just going to be a great time. And tomorrow night, I will also be on the Auction Professors channel. So announcing that here for the first time. I'm not sure exactly what the topic is. We'll figure it out soon. But that's going to be at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So that's where I'm going to be. And hope to chat with you soon. So for now, I'm going to sign off. And I'll see you at the next one, everyone. Take care.